And I'm Andrea Nichols.
Thank you. And we're part of an organization here at Emory called Student Workers in Solidarity. And what we do is, quite simply, we fight for workers' rights here at campus and all across the country. And tonight we have representatives from the Dominican Republic, Ohio, Georgia Tech, and here at Emory coming to speak to us today about the issues there are with working with Sodexo. Sodexo is a company that subcontracts here at Emory University. They provide our food workers, and the main issue is that they are not treating their workers right. And these cases have been documented all across the country.
So basically what we've been doing specifically at Emory is that we took this up a little over a year ago, and we found out, like, workers aren't being treated fairly here on campus. There's a lot of racism, there's a lot of sexism, people are on government aid even if they're working full-time as employees. You guys are going to hear a lot of these examples of these things happening on Emory and, like Lance said, elsewhere. And so we really had an issue with this. We thought Emory upholds itself as this very ethical institution that stands up for social justice and human rights. So it seemed very unparalleled to what was happening with subcontracted workers on our campus, and with the most severe cases that we heard with Sodexo workers. So what we did was we proposed a solution to this problem. We said, Emory employees have a very high standard of work. They are paid higher wages, and they also have free MARTA passes. They also have access to free education at Emory for their kids. So why don't subcontracted workers have those same rights? Why are they systematically disadvantaged compared to Emory employees? So we proposed a code of conduct that would guarantee those same standards of work and working conditions as Emory employees. And so we proposed that to Emory administration. We've been in talks with them for over a year now, and still that hasn't happened. We don't have a labor code of conduct on our campus, and furthermore, we're particularly concerned about Sodexo because recently two well-known human rights organizations have come out with reports and saying that Sodexo specifically has violated human rights in other parts of the world. We're really concerned about this, and we don't think that Sodexo has a place on our campus. We don't think that our ethical institutions should be doing business with this company. So without further ado, I would really like to turn those examples of human rights violations and all of the workplace issues that are going on to the workers who are on this panel. First, I would like to turn over the time to Vico Alvarez, who is a representative with United Students Against Sweatshops.
Woo! Woo!
Hey everyone, my name is Vico Alvarez. I am an organizer for United Students Against Sweatshops, and I am a recent graduate of the University of Chicago, where I was in my student group, similar to SWS, similar to many other groups across the nation that are affiliated to United Students Against Sweatshops. So United Students Against Sweatshops, or USAS, is a national student-run organization that campaigns in solidarity with workers. And what that means is that students have been able to engage specifically with workers who are sewing collegiate apparel. So anything that might say Emory on it, anything that might say Ohio State on it, is being sewn by workers in another country, but in turn being consumed by students and other campus community members. And we also campaign with workers on our own campus, such as Sodexo workers, such as the janitorial, maintenance, clerical staff that I engaged in campaigns with at the University of Chicago. And USAS, students in USAS have specifically been able to bring about positive change for both of these sectors of workers by way of targeting the corporations who employ them directly. So USAS has had victories in the past against major corporations such as Nike for workers in the garment industry abroad. I'll go into an example of that in just a brief moment. And now the corporation that we are holding accountable is a corporation that is directly on our campus that employs the workers that we see every day, that serve us every day, and that is Sodexo. But Sodexo isn't the only company that forms a major industry on our universities, that is the food industry. So how many people here have heard of Aramark? Oh, a good amount of hands. What about Compass? Another good amount of hands. Okay. So, Sodexo, Aramark, Compass. All of these giant corporations have employees on our own campuses, and in some instances, such as Sodexo, they have employees abroad that they employ. All of these workers, however, are also right in front of us. They're at our universities because they have contracts with our universities. Universities such as Emory, University of Chicago, at Aramark, and the Compass can be found, let's say, Northeastern in Boston. So all of these corporations, these three are referred to as the big three. And basically why that is because they're huge. Right now, they control 80% of the outsourced food service industry in just 3 corporations alone. And basically are getting rich for many reasons, whether it's jacking up the cost of our meal plans on campus, or if it's off the backs of workers by pretty much paying them poverty wages, refusing to give them benefits, refusing very basic rights. And basically, right now, Sodexo is not only showing major profit, even in the midst of this economic crisis that a lot of corporations continue to squeeze profits from. Sodexo is also being found guilty of violating its workers' rights, of violating human rights. Sodexo right now exists at about 600 universities across the U.S. Not only that, but it employs about 380,000 workers total and can be found at 80 countries across the world, including the Dominican Republic. And at pretty much a ton of those locations, Sodexo is being found guilty of the same abuses, whether it's poverty wages, refusing benefits, physical, verbal abuse, and especially intimidation on the job, which is something that you'll be hearing from several of the workers today. And basically, what that means is that workers do not have a voice working under Sodexo because Sodexo systematically encourages their managers and supervisors to intimidate the employees out of organizing, out of defending their own rights. And again, this isn't just something that you're going to be hearing from workers themselves. 2 reports were mentioned earlier. For example, the Trans-Africa report, which was released and highlighted human rights abuses in at least 5 different countries across the world. Not only Trans-Africa, but Human Rights Watch, extremely well-respected, well-known, specifically highlighted Sodexo's intimidation of workers who are active worker leaders, actively defending themselves on the job. It's to the point where Sodexo actually creates handbooks that it distributes to its managers, to its supervisors at locations such as Tulane University, at locations such as those that can be found in the Dominican Republic. This is something that Sodexo systematically practices to keep workers from defending their own rights. So this is what we're hearing out of Sodexo right now. And we're also hearing that workers on our own campuses, such as Emory, are actively trying to pressure Sodexo to stop committing these abuses. Workers are trying to target Sodexo to be able to create a union, essentially, to be able to defend their rights that they're not receiving right now. Students, like Andrea was mentioning, found out about what's going on and are now putting pressure on their administration to hold this corporation that we have contracts with accountable to our employees. Administrators right now are sort of trying to avoid responsibility because this contract exists, but the fact of the matter is that the university in the end decides to do business with these corporations. They decide which one they're going to do business with, whether it's a human rights violator or not, it's up to them. They sign off on the contract. So students, as not only just a major part of the community here on campus, not only just in their numbers, are are working to bring about this change for workers on our campus and workers abroad.